Well, your husband greatly appreciates this. Okay. Alright, I'm glad to finally be able to do something here. Well, your husband greatly appreciates this. Go ahead and turn that off. Oh, there's a typo in the description. Of course there is. Why would I ever turn that off? Okie dokie. I've got my towel. I've got that here. Okay. Something I'm actually really proud of so far is these pieces were pieces of the Porphyrion that the cat got a hold of. And you can't really see, like if you get in here real close, you can kind of see some of the tooth marks, but the Milliput really did smooth a lot of that out. And a lot of polishing went into this with the Fantic. Again, one of the best tools I've ever had for any kind of mini thing. And I was able to rebuild a lot of the edges here. But you can still see like a few very small imperfections if you know where to look. You know, some here along the back if you look real closely. These divots in here are still there. So it's not perfect, but they're way better than they were 2 or 3 days ago, which is awesome. It's something I'm very proud of, being able to say I fixed this. So we'll go ahead and end that part there. Next up, I still got a lot of parts to clean up. But honestly, most of the big stuff is done at this point. Most. Not everything. Most. I still need to trim up, clean up some of the bigger pieces over here as I get up and walk away from the microphone. I still have to get the carapace off here. I'm going to probably do this today. So I'll need to break the respirator out and finish cleaning up parts like this, because there's a lot of like large gates on this back piece here, and I got to clean up a lot of this trim. But honestly, it's coming along really, really nicely. So I thought I'd go ahead and just continue working on this today. So if anybody joins, I'll be able to answer questions in the chat. Also, at some point, Lady Wizard will be swinging by and saying hi, so you may even have a chance to ask her some questions if you're interested once you all get in here. So, for now, we'll just go ahead and get started on trimming up some of this big stuff that still needs to be done. Yeah, we'll just get started on that. So, first things first, I'll need to bust out the respirator at some point, so I'll go ahead and get that ready. And then second thing second, I will need to go ahead and get my needle file out for the Fantic, which is actually a really nice little tool to have, I have to say. Sonic drink. Okay. So, we'll go ahead and pull out the rest of these just so I have them on standby. Finally found my X-Acto knife, which is nice. And of course, I have all my files that I've just kind of thrown about on my desk. I really need to be better about organizing. I don't know why. I can't organize to save my freaking life. No matter how hard I try, I inevitably devolve into a hot mess when it comes to organization. So, hooray. At least I have that going for me. Inevitably, at some point, the cat's going to run in here, and the cat is going to knock into the camera stand. So if it starts randomly shaking, it's just a feline escaping from a puppy who is violently attacking him, which is always fun. Okie dokie. Well, let's get started. So, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and get started here on this top piece. My Fantic does need to be charged before anyone starts commenting, I know. I've got this nasty shim gate right down here that needs to be taken care of. And I just don't know that I have the control with the X-Acto knife to polish this off, per se. But we'll try it. This isn't really doing much. It's too fine of a grit, I think. So, had a wonderful time getting away. We went to a small, I say small, a rural city called Woodward here in Oklahoma, and just spent a few days out there, and we didn't really do a dang thing. We ate local food. We spent a lot of time in our hotel, just relaxing and staying away from everything. Bought coloring books. Started coloring in coloring books, which was fun. Went and looked at the stars. It was also super cold and windy when we went to go look at the stars, and we drove about 20-30 minutes out of town on Woodward and just stared, and it was so pretty out there. I wish I could describe it. It was so bright you could actually see it at night because of the moon, which is really cool. I love being able to get out of the city for a little while. It's always fun. I'd love to live in a small town like that if I could get away with it. The problem is I can't do any nerd stuff out there. It appears that nerd stuff is a luxury small towns just do not have. Shame. Alright, let's try the Fantic again. I'll try on a higher speed this time and see if maybe I can actually get what I need to get done with it. This is one of the best tools I've ever had to work with minis. I swear, this is so good, so useful, so versatile. Man, the Adepticon reveals were a blast to watch. I don't know if anyone out there has had a chance to watch them all. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was a lot of really good stuff. My wife is, I'm sure, Lady Wizard is over me talking about the COGFORTS, but I'm sorry, babe, you're just going to have to deal with it. Because those were really nice looking models. I mean, even my dad, who's not super into the tabletop stuff, thought the COGFORTS were really cool. And if he's in, I know it's cool. When it comes to this hobby, he's about as normie gets, I swear. But then again, to be fair, Warhammer is quite the Warhammer is quite the specialist hobby, so maybe normie isn't such a slur in that regard. Let's see. Yeah, I'll try the whiter one. It seems to be a little rougher in texture. Oh, much better. Good. Still a little rough in touch spots, but other than that, I think it's pretty solid. Now just get rid of this gate here. There we are. Bit trimmed down just a touch. Wish I was a little more engaged, and I apologize. Just a little on the focus side here. I do not want to damage the main part of the model, which is the dangerous part here. Okay, I think we're pretty much there on this one. It's smoothed out quite a bit, which is nice. It's still got some texture, but I think this is now shallow enough. I can just come at it with the X-Acto knife, and I should be pretty good. There we are. Alright, it's another piece down. Perfect. So these are really the ones that I'm most worried about. Got a lot of resin here holding these to the pieces, but I should be able to pretty easily just saw through those with the hobby saw. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and try here. Hobby saws can kind of be a bit of hit or miss for me, depending on the size of the blade. This is my smaller blade, so I have warped this a couple of times, but I've been able to get it back into position. These thicker pieces just require a bit more. There we go. Cut through pretty easily that time. Just a bit more control. So you gotta really work at it, and it's something that you really don't want to mess up too bad. Let's go ahead and move this out of the way before I cut myself. But yeah, got lots of big reveals that came out and happened for Adepticon. Some stuff that I'm really excited about for 40K. The new orc models look fantastic. I think Wazdaka looks really good. Of course, a slew of new Marnius Calgar memes have come out. You know, Marnius Calgar in X armor. The Marnius Calgar with Wazdaka bike is really funny, if you ask me. But the one I saw the most was the Marnius COGFORTS, which I have to admit, that one, I laughed for a good few minutes on that one. My wife was not as impressed as I was on vacation with that meme, though. There we go. Put that pretty good. Alright, let's use this, and let's just... little gate right here. There we are. Also still hoping to get something this year with Cavil's Warhammer project, which I hope, the rumor was a few years ago that 2026 would be when we would get the announcement and trailer of the project, and I hope that still holds true. I know it was a rumor still, so I'm not overly worried about it in that regard. Like, it may not happen, and that's okay. But damn, it would be really cool if it did, though. And honestly, with all the recent announcements that come with Age of Sigmar during Adepticon, I have to be honest with you, I just don't see... Like, if those leaks happen, I could see them, like, taking a step back from the backlash that they've received, which is great, because I don't want to see what those leaks happen and become true. But I could see a world where they do happen. But those COGFORTS, though, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see them releasing a bunch of City of Sigmar models like this coming out, and that being a case. So, you know, I guess we'll see. You know, next year is supposed to be the launch of 5th edition for Age of Sigmar, so we'll see ultimately where that leads us. But I truly and honestly believe that we're not gonna see it happen the way that it was reported. If it does happen at all, it'll be very edited. I don't think GW is stupid necessarily. I think they make dumb decisions, but I think at the end of the day, they're very much all about their bottom line. They're not gonna waste anything like that. So I just don't see them, you know, doing anything dumb to jeopardize what goodwill they have, because they do have goodwill when it comes to Age of Sigmar. Then their models are looking real nice. But I don't know, who knows? Maybe that's copium, because I really love the Cities of Sigmar models that they announced. Not just the COGFORTS, which looked really good, by the way. I don't know if anyone saw the COGFORTS, but They look really, really nice. They're really interesting, and they're right up my alley. But the rest of the Cities of Sigmar models look really good. I have to say, I think they look fantastic. Between the new, like, Grenadiers that they've announced, the new Magic Casters, like, I don't know, like the Axian Pyromancer or whatever it was, that model looks really good. I love the dynamism in the posing with it when it comes to, like, the fire coming up, but it's not attached to the wand. It's like the wand's casting it, which is, I know that's what they were going for, but still, like, that just looked really good. I don't know how I feel about them, like, making a new bundle box with those two, I forget what they're called, the Witch Hunters looking guys with the guns, with the pistols in their hands, and then all the Hound dudes. I've seen those models before. Bundling them doesn't necessarily excite me that much, but yeah, that looks good. I like the bundles. I mean, they always do sell really well, and they provide a decent enough discount from buying them individually. So I can't be too upset, you know. But they do look good. The Flamethrower guy looks fantastic. I have to say, the new Gallant models, the Foot Knights, they look really, really good. I hope they have just as much customization as their Cavalier counterparts, because I'm going to be honest with you, if they do, that's awesome. I think, like, I've never really, I like the Cavaliers, you know, I don't dislike what they're supposed to be for. They just always stood out a little bit more like a sore thumb. But now with the Gallants, you know, if there's good amount of customization with that could be something worthwhile. That could be really, really worthwhile. Because now you have the knightly vibes going on. Because it's not just the Cavaliers by themselves. Now you have the Cavaliers and the Gallants. You could really mix and match and create like your own custom knight and heraldry and whatnot. It's really cool. I really like it. The COGFORTS obviously steal the show from me. They are my new, I mean, aside from the Porphyrion, they are my new favorite model. I'm sorry, Castigator, you've been replaced as my second favorite Warhammer model of all time. You'll have to forgive me. But yeah, no, they look fantastic. I'm really excited to see where AOS goes with this. I could still see those leaks happening. I hope to God it doesn't happen. Call it copium if you want, that's fine. We're like, you know, oh, no, this seems to indicate a pretty healthy like AOS environment. They could still, however, screw this up. I said it before, I said it in my video, I've heard it many, many times. Nobody likes Warhammer because of Games Workshop. They like Warhammer in spite of Games Workshop. And that adage has always kind of held true to me. Because Games Workshop makes a lot of really dumb decisions that they didn't have to make, but they chose to make, and I can't necessarily forgive them for that. But you know, I just don't see that happening personally. I think we're fine. The new model range looks fantastic. Cities of Sigmar looks great. I hope it's not really a rumor per se, but I hope that the talks of Shadow Elves coming into Age of Sigmar finally with the launch of the next edition, I hope that holds true. We'll see. I'd love that to be the case. The Umbraneth, you know, my wife, she collects the Ideneth Deepkin. She loves herself some Sea Elves, which even she'll be the first to admit, she only really collects the Ideneth because she loves the ocean creatures that come with it. She loves the look of the Leviathan, the giant sea turtle, because why wouldn't you? It's a giant freaking sea turtle. But she also really, really likes the shark guys, the guys that run on the back of the shark. I forget the name of the model. She'll probably remember. She wants to paint those up as orcas because those are her favorite marine animal. And you know what? More power to you, honey. I'm in. Let's do it. So I'd love to be able to collect an elf army with her. I am a staunch dwarf supporter. I am a dwarf supremacist. But unfortunately, I'm not a huge fan of any of the Age of Sigmar dwarves. I like the Carriages. I think they're fine. But Warhammer Fantasy Dwarves, for me, are where it's at for dwarves. I mean, they're like the perfect mix of the evolution of, you know, Lord of the Rings dwarves, with like the perfect blend of the era of industrialization when it comes to their weaponry and whatnot. I love Warhammer Fantasy Dwarves. Carriages kind of carry that torch for me a little bit. They also play into my autistic strengths of being obsessed with the Age of Sail era ships. So, you know, frigates, galleons, schooners, brigantines, you name it. I love Age of Sail ships. I know way too much about Age of Sail ships, so airships really kind of appeal to me, which is a shame that I'm so easily catered to. But the problem is they're just not overly dwarfy for me. It's just the ships that get me. So if they made the Cities of Sigmar model range that was all just like traditional fantasy dwarves, you've got my money immediately. But we'll see. We'll see. The one thing I'll say about the leaks is that they kind of say that Dispossessed kind of bring back Warhammer Fantasy Dwarves, and the Fire Slayers kind of just become the Slayers again, which, honestly, if you're a fan of AOS, that sounds really dumb to me, to go away from the cool stuff in AOS. I'll say what it is, like, they do deconstruct fantasy really, really well. I still don't think the leaks are true, or at the very least, how they've been presented, I don't think are true. So it could very well just be a case of, doomsaying, which honestly, on the internet, doomsaying, no, that's never happened. Everyone's always super level-headed and calm and rational in discussions on the internet. That couldn't be the case. But yeah, I think traditional dwarves are where it's at for me. Kind of want to get a Warhammer, the old world army of dwarves, and then I can kit bash them to be Cities of Sigmar by making them compatible base-wise. I don't know though, honestly. I really like the Cities of Sigmar models that came out, so I don't know that I'm going to go through all that trouble just to build COGFORTS and such. I may just build a traditional dwarven army for Warhammer the Old World. That or Empire of Man. I don't know. It does appear to me in many aspects that GW just treats the Old World kind of like the redheaded stepchild. I don't know if I'm alone in that regard, but it does sometimes feel like they treat the Old World like they didn't expect it to be as popular as it is, in that they really just wanted to make it go like, oh look, we did it to cater to the nostalgic people, but now it's failed. Oh well, at least we tried. Now let's go back to Age of Sigmar, and now that it's actually gotten quite a bit popular within the community, they're kind of like, well, shit. I guess we are doing this now. So we'll see. We'll see. I just want more love for the Old World. I want Horus Heresy era love for the Old World, I suppose. I don't need it to be like AOS or 40k. I just need them to treat it with respect. Alright, let's carve out these gears real quick. Cut off these extra gates. Well, either way, Adepticon was a lot of fun. I got to watch the stream for my birthday. Got to hang out with family and friends. Got to annoy my wife with my obsession with Warhammer, who will sit there and lovingly tell me that she loves it because I love it, but I know her better than that. She's not interested in Warhammer. Not really. But she humors me well enough, and collecting her Idoneth Deepkin is been a lot of fun, I have to admit. I can't wait to see what her army ends up looking like. I don't know if she'll actually enjoy playing it or not. That's really not really my major concern. I just want to be able to share a hobby with her, which is always a lot of fun. So, it's a tale as old as time. Men trying to get their women in their lives interested into Warhammer. And most of the time it's 40k, and most of the time the women are interested in two factions, and it's never the Adeptus Sororitas. Women are always interested in either orcs, which is true in my case, or they are interested in Tyranids, which is true in a lot of people's cases. A good friend of the channel, Final Gaming, his wife, collects Tyranids, so hip hip hooray. Let's see if he shows up in chat later. I don't know, if anyone out there had any major announcements that they're really excited for when it came to Adepticon, please feel free to let me know. One of the things I'm super, super excited about when it came to Adepticon in particular is more or less the introduction of Primaris Scale Firstborn Space Marine bits. I have been pretty Primaris for a long, long time. I've always kind of held a grudge against the Primaris Marines. Mostly because when I got into the hobby, I got into it because of the Space Wolves. And in the Space Wolf lore, the reason I picked them as the chapter that got me into it was because they couldn't have successor chapters. Don't know why, I just thought that was really cool, and I kind of got into it, and I fell in love with the Space Wolves. And it's been my go-to Space Marine chapter since I was 15 or so? About that, yeah, about 15 I'd say. Love Space Wolves. And the whole, like, couldn't have successor chapters was the reason I got into it. And then when the Primaris Marines came out, one, was never really a big fan of how they were introduced, but two, it took a lot of character away from both the Blood Angels and the Space Wolves. Now, they have since fixed this. They have since gone back and retconned it and said, no. The lore was wrong. You know, they thought they were immune to the gene flaws of the Space Wolves and the Blood Angels. In reality, they're just highly resistant to it, but the flaws are still there, which, honestly, for me, that's like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Like, but, oh well, it is what it is. The other problem I had with them, though, was, like, the Primaris Space Marines, like, not only were they, at the time, immune to the flaws, which they've since gone back and kind of retconned out of existence, but they allowed the Space Wolves to create successor chapters, which, to me, kind of ate away at some of the unique identity of the Space Wolves. And I was like, oh, that sucks. They took away the one thing about the Space Wolves I thought was the coolest, that they couldn't have successor chapters, and they just kind of went ahead and made that a thing now. So, you know, still not a huge fan of the Primaris Marines. I've softened on the topic. They've gone back and continued to update the lore, which is great. I think that's fantastic. Now the flaws are there. They still have to deal with them. They contend a little bit better because they're more resistant to the war. I think that's fine. I think, honestly, that's fine. If they had been that way from the word go, I think it would have been a slightly different story. But, you know, you live and you learn. You know, good GW, bad GW kind of thing. But then, you know, they came out with Adepticon, and they kind of showed them off where they have now Firstborn Space Marine bits that are in Primaris scale. Now, I know the lore, quote-unquote, is that, like, these are Primaris Marines who were scavenged bits of armor from Firstborn Marines. They're not actually Firstborn in Primaris scale, and that's fine. But having Firstborn Marine bits in Primaris scale means people can, if they choose to, build an army of Firstborn Space Marines in Modern 40k, which you don't normally get, which is really cool. I like that. I think it's good. This has got a charge. I have now killed the Fantic. Hooray! Where's that charging cable? There it is. So, you know, like, on the one hand, I get it. I still understand the disappointment, but having Firstborn Space Marine bits that are in Primaris scale, that's just a good thing. You know, there could be so much worse, but having those bits there, you can now roleplay and build out your forces how you so choose. And I think that's a good thing. I'm a fan. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that GW has done. So I'll give them a praise for that. And, of course, the box art being an homage to the original, what was it, 2nd edition box art for Return to Armageddon. Just like chef's kiss. Really good job. Honestly, W's all around for that. Which, again, you know, I'm not a huge fan of giving... I'm not a huge fan of GW in the first place. I'm just a fan of their products. But honestly, GW, well done. Well done. You have earned a little bit of my respect. Here I am ensuring that I'll never ever have any kind of relationship with Games Workshop, and honestly, I can live with this. Oh, I carved into that just a little bit. Oops. Awesome. That's what I get for killing the Fantic. I should have done this. Should have left this charging when I left. Oh well. But yeah, honest to God, like, I'm really excited. The 40K 11th edition is shaping up to be something rather special, at least lore-wise. We'll see. As we get closer to the ending of closing of 10th edition, we'll see how it goes. I mean, honestly, the story has stagnated for so long when it came to 10th edition and 11th edition. I'm just... We'll see where the story moves forward to. I'm excited to see it. I like to see GW pivoting on the Steel Legion. It's a good thing. The Steel Legion pivot, honestly, is... I'm all for more player choice. More player choice needed to have been a thing. Taking away the Steel Legion from fans was just a bad idea, bad call all around. So pivoting to include the Steel Legion, honestly, is a massive win, in my opinion. Well, of course, it'll be 3 years before we see anything from it, unfortunately. So 3 years before we even remotely come close to what... Oh, you know what? I just realized my chat was not scrolling. Final actually posted. Alec, firstly, great to see you here. Thank you, honey, for posting about COGFORTS. I don't hear of many other than tier 2 players. That's fair. And Final, I don't know if you're still here. I'm sorry I missed it. But thank you so much, brother man. I really do appreciate the shout out. I wondered why the chat wasn't moving at all. I am just stupid. I didn't even see it. That's awesome, though. Well, thank you guys. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for the birthday wishes, Final. Again, honestly, man, it's been a pleasure, and I will continue to work hard, my guy. I'll get this army done. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping to get that Destrier when it comes out. So, anyway, I can't believe I didn't even notice the chat wasn't scrolling at all for me. Hey, welcome to the stream, guys. Pleasure to see you. What's that? Ian's Outdoor Recovery. Now, welcome, my friends. We are just hanging out while I work on some bits, preparing all of my smaller pieces for my Porphyrion to get together, which is rather exciting, I have to say. Indeed, honestly, genuine shout out. Final is fantastic. Great guy. And obviously you are too, Alec. It's good to see you. Well, I wouldn't say guy, but, you know, you're a great person too, Alec. I'm glad to see you here. You always show up for most of my streams, and it's always a pleasure. Hopefully you're still working on some of that Penumbra Reapers lore in the chat. I still like, by the way, your badge that you came up with, your chapter badge for your shoulder pads. Fantastic. Well done. It looks really, really good. I do quite enjoy seeing your updates on your progress for your models. It looks really good in the server. I don't know why words are hard. This one's a little tricky, I have to admit. This piece has got a lot of nooks and crannies that need a lot of trimming. Anyway, so where was I? But yeah, honestly, when it comes to it, I think this Adepticon has been rather exciting for the most part. I know my wife is really interested in those new Lumineth Warhammer Underworld figures that they announced. She really just wants the fox, but she does think the elves look cool. And I have to admit, the fox is pretty cute. Funnily enough, while we were gone over the weekend, we kind of went over some models. I hesitate to say this because it's not technically true. It's my read on her. But I think that she thinks squigs are pretty cute too. In like in a monstrously hideous kind of way. You know, like pugs. Pugs are cute. I mean, they're monstrously hideous and probably shouldn't be bred. Here I am advocating for dog eugenics, but they're cute in a existential eldritch horror kind of way. Same thing with squigs. That's kind of the read I get from her on that one. So, somebody may be getting squigs for her birthday. Not that she wants squigs. or cares about anything about Warhammer, but being able to do something with my beautiful wife is always a lot of fun. And I'd say, you know, Warhammer's a cheaper hobby than paying to go out of town and stay at a hotel for a few days and travel around and eat out at restaurants, but honestly, the traveling may be cheaper than Warhammer. We'll see. You've heard the term cuggly? Really? I didn't even know that was a term. I'm in. You know, I actually was telling her a little bit about the lore of a specific squig from Brutal Cunning, where I forget the name of the war boss that named his squig Princess because he thought it was a title of power when he saw Princepts inside of a Titan. So, the squig Princess makes me laugh. Oh no. It's a combination of cute and ugly. That makes perfect sense. Genuinely. Yeah, there's a couple of tabs here, like was supposed to be rivets here and here, but it was so jammed up with shim, I didn't see it, and ended up trimming those off. So, oopsies. See, that's the one downside to hand-cast models, is they're not... Like, they're very cool. I have a little bit of handmade art from Games Workshop. Technically Forge World, but it is owned by Games Workshop. But sometimes the QA on these are not great. And I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about. So, I forget which one of these it is. So, on the Magna Las cannons, you can... This one you can kind of see it. It's not as bad. This one's okay. It's just a nasty seam right there. But one... Yes, this is the one. This is egregiously bad. So, this one, you can kind of see the band is slightly elevated on this side versus this side. But if you look here, like this side is much higher than it is on the other side than this side. And I don't know why that is the case. Like, some of these are just not great. Like, this piece snapped. There's this wall right here broke off. And I know it's just the nature of, like, the hand casting. Which it is, it's fine. It is what it is. And I have a little bit of model history here that no one else can claim to have. And honestly, if I didn't even point out that these rivets were gone, voice cracked, most people wouldn't even notice. Right? This is supposed to be the bottom of one of the feet, I believe. I think that's right. Yeah, this is the bottom of one of the feet, and the toes are going to go around this. So this is what it's supposed to kind of look like here. You wouldn't even notice that those divots were gone had I not pointed it out. And yet, I know they're gone, and now you know they're gone. So now the whole internet is aware that I don't have a perfect Porphyrion, and it's sad. I'm going to cry now. I mean, jokingly, I'm not really gonna. I might cry. I might tear up. This model did cost a lot of money, so we'll just. I didn't even squeeze my nippers, and this just snipped off. And thank God it's pretty much even with this surface. If it wasn't, I'd be livid right now. Just gouging into the actual piece that I'm trying to save. Gotta love Forge World, everybody. Gotta love Forge World. I love Forge World. But, goddamn. Okay. So, we'll trim that down just a little bit. This piece is going to be a little tricky. I'm not really sure the best way to tackle this. I mean, I could use my god hands to kind of go around. But honestly, I think I should just be able to sawed off. There we go. Kinda. Yeah, this piece is just all sorts of cattywampus. We'll just trim that down. Anyway, the Adepticon reveals were really exciting. I'm really excited to see where it goes. I also, in case anyone's interested in it, I will be doing these on stream, so, you know, take this for what you will. There is some nasty air bubbles in this resin. I hate to do this. I'm going to have to mix up some milliput, I think, to fill those in. Damn. Well, I'll just continue trimming it and making it level for now, and then we'll go back over and we'll... Damn, that's just really freaking annoying. Anyway, what was I just talking about before that happened? Oh yeah, so while I was on vacation, my lovely bride, I know we had talked about it ahead of time, and so it's not like I sprung it on her last second, and she's been aware. I did purchase some Blackout models, some really nice Blackout models. I got the 2-player starter set, and I got a Strike Force expansion for one of the factions in the game. Now, for anyone not aware of Blackout, firstly, you should be. It's an amazing little tabletop war game that's relatively new, made at a company called Enemy Spotted Studios. The reason I bring it up is because Enemy Spotted Studios was created by veterans to create a tactical, voice cracked again, tactical, fast-paced, squad-based war game. Very tactical, very where you can you can try to make those bubbles into battle damage. It depends on where this spot goes. This is what looks to be the Magna Las cannon. You know, honestly, you may not even be able to see those bubbles, depending on where I think there's a back plate that goes there. So, but I'll just mix up some milliput. I have it over here on the desk. So it's not really that much of an issue, which is good. Words are hard. Yeah, so Blackout. So it's actually created by Enemy Spotted Studios. Again, a studio made by veterans, for veterans, who had an idea of making a very fast-paced, tactical, squad-based first-person shooter. Oh, Jesus, I'm going into buzzwords now. Tabletop war game. So it's got a much smaller model count. It's actually a lot cheaper to get into than even Warhammer is, which is awesome. But what I love about it is not only that, but a percentage of every sale, the profit goes to a charity that they donate to themselves to help prevent veteran suicide. So they're there to help veterans with the transition and prevent suicides by veterans and kind of help create a positive environment and help people who desperately need it with their mental health. Especially a community that just I say unfairly maligned with the idea that they oftentimes are too self-reliant and don't seek out help, which I don't think is the truth. I think it's a community that's relatively insular. Like, veteran guys aren't going to go ask help from non-veterans is really what the issue boils down to. I don't think that they're naturally, insular themselves. But, a percentage of every purchase that you provide, if you were to go buy models now, would go towards this charity that they themselves donate to. And I think it's a great cause. It really does help. There are a lot of veterans who, I'm sure, have had friends who, unfortunately, didn't know that there was another way out, right? That didn't feel like they had a way out, and unfortunately took drastic steps to where they're no longer here today. And it's a shame that that's a case. So not only do you get a really cool, very interesting, very in-depth world set in the very relatively near future of the 2100s in another star system, but more importantly, you can also help prevent the death of a veteran by helping just make a single purchase. And I think that's a wonderful thing. So I highly recommend, if anyone's interested in a more tactical, very quick, very lethal war game, and it loves that that sci-fi military aesthetic. Check out Blackout, and it also has the added benefit of being for a good cause. I have some forces coming. Like I said, I bought the 2-player starter set plus the Strike Force expansion, and I will be. I'm not necessarily building them per se. That you can get them where you can build them. I think I bought them where they're all one piece, so they're already casted. But I will be painting them on stream. So if anyone wants to accompany and join me as I paint these models and talk about the unique world that is Blackout, I'd be more than willing to do so. I think it'd be great. It'd be a little bit of fun. So people who out there who are also intimidated by painting models can kind of see some, self-admittedly, an idiot, building or painting models on stream and kind of see, like, even if I can paint it, you can paint it. There really isn't like a science to this per se. There's just nothing to it but to do it, you know? So if you're interested in that, they will be in about 2 weeks-ish, a little under 2 weeks. So once they come in, I'll do a few streams. I'll work on the Porphyrion off stream just a little bit because there's some larger pieces and I can't Dremel in the house. It just makes too much of a mess, and I'm trying not to fill my house with very toxic resin dust all the time. And you know, just do something a little bit different. I think it'd be a lot of fun. So if that sounds fun to you guys, just keep an eye out. I will post it that it is a Blackout stream, and I will be streaming and painting the models, and I will even talk a little about the lore. If anyone's interested in that, that's the thing that I love, is getting involved into a universe, is talking about lore. Believe me, I'm sure my wife, who may be watching, is rolling her eyes and nodding along, going, "Yep, that's my husband." So. Well, here we are. This is honestly the Fantic. If anyone hasn't gotten one of these yet, my God, you do yourself a favor. This seam in here was one I was super worried about. It's a pain in the neck to try to even get to, and this thing is knocking it out like it's nobody's business. Okay, let's try that. Hello, honey. Sorry about that. My beautiful bride was walking behind me and apparently stepped on something and hurt her foot. Great tool, honestly. Really nice tool here. These seams, I'm trying to be very careful, but I want to get rid of these seams as much as possible. Oh man. Go ahead and get this here. There we go. All right. So this right here. Ooh, I bumped my microphone. I apologize there, everybody. doing something that requires my immense concentration and narrating, not the easiest thing in the world for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm playing on a survival Minecraft world that has an end portal that spawned partly active. Ooh. You know, Alec, that is terrifying from an existential point of view. But it's really fascinating. That's awesome. I haven't played Minecraft in a long time. I don't have fun on it anymore. I've done so much on Minecraft, and I have played with people that were incredibly toxic in terms of friends. Like, I didn't know what a real friend was until I was 22, because I wanted to be these guys as friends, and they just ended up being like the worst kind of toxic people. And so honestly, I played a lot of Minecraft with them, and I think that's part of the reason why I don't like it anymore. But I hope you're having a lot of fun. Genuinely. That's dope. You know? One of the... It sounds something very similar to what I have going on my homebrew night world. Is a partially active warp rift opened up on that world. It's closed, but it's not sealed. That's the caveat. That's the trick. Is it's not... Oh, I'm gonna hit it again. It's not sealed, so it occasionally opens back up and pours out, you know, a few hundred. It's 2/3 active. Ooh. But occasionally opens up and pours out like millions of Nurgle demons, and usually it has to be opened from the other side because it goes into Nurgle's domain. It was opened up by a Nurgle-aligned night house called House Blisterborn. Did not come up with that. House Blisterborn does actually exist in the lore of 40k. There's just no lore other than they're a night house that existed, and they are aligned with Nurgle. That's technically a lie. I mean, there's a little bit more than that. There's no colors, there's no motto, there's no words, there's no homeworld or anything. But they do have a singular named knight known as the Pallid Knight, which is interesting. I like it. There's just not much else to their lore, unfortunately, which is a shame, because I like the name Blisterborn. It sounds really dope. Which I was exposed to. Birthday, yes. My birthday was actually a couple days ago. It was Saturday. But just got back in town. I was out of town in a town called Woodward. And I wanted to stream, but I couldn't since I was me and the wife left on a mini vacation, so we came back to stream for my birthday. So, a couple days late, but still there. So, yes, I did decide to further the lore. I got introduced to that with Adeptus Ridiculous and the whole, like, Justice for House Blisterborn thing that they were doing. And I was like, you know what, I'll just take it and use it. Why not? So I had them invade my night homeworld, and they opened up this rift that occasionally opens back up from the other side and pours out millions of Nurgle demons. And I've named it the Scar because I'm very original like that, you know. I think the coolest part... Oh, well, hey, happy birthday greetings then, brother. You know what? I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun. I had a great time on my couple days off out of town with my wife. Got to leave my puppy dogs here, and a good friend of mine stayed behind and kept an eye on them, and I just got to relax and not have to worry about anything for 2 days, which is always fun in my world. My poor wife usually has to have something planned out for everything that we do. So she was very stressed out on the idea about not having an itinerary until we were about 2 hours into our vacation, and she's like, this is really nice. So we just stayed out there, ate at local restaurants, we went around, and we did some stargazing out in Woodward, because it's very rural Oklahoma. Woodward is actually like the largest city in that portion of the state. Went and looked at the stars. We went 20 minutes outside the city to go look at the stars where there's no city lights nearby, and it was gorgeous. We just stayed out there, and oh, it was so nice. I wish we could have stayed, but I was ready to be home. Be home to see my boys, my dogs, and get back to responsibilities, even if only for a little while. Oops, I went flying. But yeah, turned the big 32 yesterday, or 2 days ago, technically. No? Yesterday. Thank you, honey. I keep thinking today's Monday. Sorry. The big 32 yesterday, which was a lot of fun. Had some really nice Mexican food at a place called Ramiro's, and ate a nice carne asada steak, and drank a michelada. It was so nice. My wife had the margarita and a really good chili relleno that she really liked. Lady Wizard in there correcting me is top tier content. Okay, here we are. It was a lot of fun. But I am glad to be home. I always thought it was ended at 30. You can go over that. Funnily enough, yes. Strangely. When I was a kid, my dad was really worried about turning 30. He's like, oh, I'm going to be old, and I was trying to make him feel better, and I was like, I don't know, 7, I think. I was young, and I was like, oh, you're not old, Dad. You're not old until you turn 33. I don't know why I thought 33 was like the perfect answer, and he laughed, of course, and said, thanks, bud. So now I have officially 1 more year until I become an old person, according to young me. We'll see how that goes. Thank you, honey. My wife says I'm already old. Alright, let's do this. By the way, that partly active end portal happens to be the portal frame. Happens when the portal frame is in 2 chunks, and all the frames in 1 chunk and eyes end in them. Oh, okay. That's fascinating. I think that's really cool, honestly. One of the things I think more people should do in this hobby, and I'm glad you're doing it, Alec, is doing any kind of homebrew. I think homebrew is very important. Making a custom faction within the lore is very important, I think, as a part of this hobby. You know, it's one of those things that, like, the older editions used to really love is people coming up with their own stuff. And I know GW has kind of gotten more corporate as time has gone on, and they've really leaned away from the homebrew aspect of it. But I have to say, it is one of the more important things in this hobby, is being able to do any kind of homebrew. Because it gives you a sense of ownership over the world. I'm getting to the age where people I grew up with start getting married and having kids, and it feels super weird. Brother, I get you. I've been there for a little hot minute. In fact, in my family, I'm actually the oldest person to have gotten married for their first marriage. Everyone else in my family found somebody, you know, in their teens or in their 20s, and it took me until I was already 30 to meet my wife. And my sister, my younger sister, she's had a kid. She's gone through a marriage, got remarried. A lot of my friends from high school have been married and have kids, or have gotten remarried and still have kids from their first marriage. And it's kind of a surreal thing, you know. Me personally, I've always wanted to get married and have kids eventually. You know, I never got lucky in that regard until I met my wife. And I feel super blessed to have her in my life. Things happen in their own time, you know? So, things happen in their own time. You just have to have faith. You'll find somebody. I don't talk about it very much here on the channel. I try not to talk about it very much on the channel. Because I think people come here to talk about Warhammer and such. But I believe in God and I believe in fate, and, you know, it'll happen for everybody in their own time. So... It may not be the time frame you want, believe me. I wanted to find somebody a long time ago, but, you know, you'll find somebody. My wife says she's glad I didn't meet somebody beforehand, and honestly, I'm kind of glad I didn't, too. Love you, babe. Now, if I can get her to build a model with me, that would be nice. Okay, gotta buff this out. This is looking pretty solid. I'm still kind of torn. Do I build this with the Throne Mechanicum and the cockpit installed inside the Knight? Because there's no actual pilot that goes in here. I've checked all the pieces. There's no pilot that comes with it. So I may not build, or if I do build it, I may not paint the cockpit. I may just glue everything up. And I think that's fine. I think it's a fine way to approach it. I'm sure there are some Knight purists who'll be like, oh, you didn't build and paint your cockpit? No, I don't need to. I'm here for the model. I don't care about the inside. I'm not making a diorama. So, anyway. But yeah, this is honestly one of the coolest stuff about this freaking hobby. Is finding people who appreciate the same things that you're into, and I think that's really cool. You know, I for one, I started, because we have a couple of new people in here. I for one really started doing these streams to hang out and talk with people, but kind of get that those old game store vibes. I miss being able to go to local game stores and just build models and hang out with people who appreciate the hobby as much as you do. I don't have that opportunity to go as often now as I would like I have in the past, but honest to God, this is a very similar kind of vibe. People who join these kind of things are probably more into the hobby and the building kind of things, and I think having people like that in a chat like this is pretty comparable to going to a local game store. I've had people join and just say they're building or they're painting and they're just listening in the background, and I think that's a really cool part of this hobby, and just a really cool part of this community that I'm working on, which is nice. If anyone hears any high-pitched meowing in the background, my wife is currently in the process of feeding kittens. We have newborn kittens that we're helping foster and take care of here at the house. They need to be fed every 3 to 4 hours, and they are talkative little suckers, I have to admit. They're also cute as hell. We are planning on keeping one of them, and we have already given her a name. Her name is the Dark Lady Inkspill. Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the stream, bud. Glad to have you. We got a lot of cool people stopping by today. This is awesome. Alright, we're going to need to break out the filing bit, I think, for this. I've got a lot of texture on this piece. We're gonna buff this up. Oh, cats? Yeah. My wife's got... We're fostering some kittens and newborn kittens, and they need to be fed pretty frequently. They're adorable little suckers, but they are noisy and opinionated. Especially the one that my wife is eyeing on adopting, Inky. There's 4 in the litter. We only have 2 right now. The other 2 my folks are working on trying to get a hold of, because my parents, they feed strays, and these 2 particular strays that they've named Boss, which is a long-haired male cat, and Daisy. And they had a litter of 4 kittens, and Daisy has abandoned 2 of them, so we took those 2 in, and we're fostering those 2 right now. And we're kind of splitting the duty between myself and my parents. And my dad wants to adopt one, and my wife has already called the other one. And the other 2, my sister and my mother are working on trying to capture when they can. They're just trying to find them now. And we've all named them after ghosts from Miss Pac-Man. So we got Inky and Blinky. And then we have Pinky and Clyde, which are the other two. We're trying to find Pinky and Clyde now, but we have Inky and Blinky, and we're most likely keeping Inky, and my dad is most likely taking Blinky. So we have the Dark Lady Inky, which is our cat, and yes, when I tell the vet their names, the Dark Lady will be a part of this because they do call an animal by their full name. So I have Chewy, which is my dog, Great Pyrenees Husky mix, and the other one we have is a Aussie German Shepherd Malamute mix, and his name is Han. So we have Han and Chewy, and Han is a little bit of a celebrity at the local vet, which is kind of cool. I ain't gonna lie to you. But they do read out full names for animals. So when I have Chewy, they don't call him Chewy, they go Chewbacca, because he's named after Chewbacca, is what I told them. So they call him Chewbacca, which is great. And now my buddy Josh wants to adopt a Chihuahua, purely so we can name him Archeon, Herald of the End Times, Destroyer of Worlds, Champion of Chaos, and the Black Knight. The three-crowned king and the three-eyed king. So, it's a mouthful, but the vet would have to use it all. Which is exactly what he wants to do. We'll see if it happens. I have a sneaking suspicion we will break them of that policy, unfortunately. Speaking of, he's not here today. Normally I like to stream with my friends, my close friends, Josh being one of them, or JD, over at a channel called Spruta Saga, where he's actually working on a video right now. He's actually finished his script. He's got a lot of recording. He's in the process of editing it down as we speak, but he's working on his next video. If you haven't checked out Spruta Saga, you absolutely should. He's a great channel, great guy. He's also a big Warhammer nerd. I actually dragged him into the hobby, kicking and screaming against his will. So, great guy. Love him to death. He's one of the nicest people I know. And another friend of the channel, Final Gaming. If anyone's ever heard of Final Gaming, I will actually, here in a little bit, I'll post a link to both of their channels. They are fantastic people. They make great content, and I cannot recommend them both enough. They're really nice guys. And I look forward to seeing Spruta Saga's next major project he's been working on. To kind of give anyone a rundown, if anyone's interested in what I'm doing, he actually makes videos where he builds models and paints them as part of the video. But he comes at it from a lore perspective. He's making a custom-made faction for every major army in Age of Sigmar, so he can tell his own stories. So I highly recommend, if anyone is interested in Age of Sigmar, or just likes listening to lore as people talk, or just enjoys painting models, you should absolutely check out Spruta Saga. He does an amazing job. He's a great guy, and his next big video is coming up. He's relatively new. There's only a couple videos on the channel, but I think you'll agree he's got an eye for quality and an eye for video making. His first video blows mine out of the freaking water, and it ticks me off just a little bit. Let's see here. Alec, I was doing some enchanting, and I got some pretty good enchantments on some diamond pickaxes. Well, that's awesome. I hope you're enjoying your Minecraft, my dude. Minecraft is a lot of fun. Like I said, I've had some people ruin Minecraft for me, but I completely recognize that is something I got to work on. I hope you're enjoying your time on Minecraft. At no point in time should my opinion ever sway anybody to not liking something. So. I can hear the kittens in there crying. Hopefully they're doing okay. We've been dealing with some stomach issues with them, so some of them are in a little bit of discomfort. Oh. Give me 1 second, everybody. Honey, you want me to lock up the dogs? Okay. Sorry, they're really interested in the kittens. And Han has decided that my wife is his person. So he must protect her and get between her and anything else that she might be giving her attention to that's not him. And he's not like aggressive about it per se, like he's like growling at people or anything. He just likes to get between her and the source of her distraction. And that does not work out so well when she's trying to feed kittens from a bottle. So, he's cute. He's really cute. He knows he's cute, and that's a problem. Okay. Got that down just a little bit. Let's see if I can... file down just a little bit. There we are. There's a back of a torso right here. Which we're getting there. I'm getting there. You do most stuff with that electric thing? Yeah, honestly, so this is one of the... I've told a lot of people about this before, but I have a lot of new people joining all the time. This is called a Fantic. This is specifically the Fantic F2 Master? Yeah, the F2 Master. This thing is a small battery-powered electric dribble. This is one of the best tools I've ever seen for hobby stuff. And it's not even intended for hobby stuff. A lot of other YouTubers have kind of talked about this before in the hobby. A lot of larger YouTubers like Ninjon was one that I first told me about it in his video that he covered it. This is really cool. Let me show you some cool stuff. So it's a USB-C, which is awesome. So it's powered and charged with a standard phone charger at this point. It comes in this kind of really nice case. So you can get it in the Master or the Pro. The Master I recommend. I think it's cheaper than the Pro. This is like $60. The Pro is about $100, but the Pro comes with a lot more in terms of bits, and I'll kind of show you what's going on here. You've got standard drill bits, carving bits, filing bits of all different shapes and sizes, sanding bits and filing bits, and a few polishing bits in here. So I love doing this kind of thing. Oh yeah, there's so many. There's absolutely so many different tips for this. But what I love about it is it makes doing custom stuff so much easier for model making. I'll give you an example. So I'm working on Imperial Knights. That's the army that I'm building for 40K. And there is a lot of customization that goes into a knight, and I also generally hate the poses that the knights come in. So I do a lot of custom posing options. So you kind of have... Let's see if I can find the box real quick, actually. You have two variety of poses when it comes to Imperial Knights. So the first one is I like to call High Noon or Cowboy pose. This is the pose that all knights typically come in. This is a Questoris knight. This is the frame is Questoris. They also have the Dominus knight, which is what the Castellan or the Valiant are. And these legs are in a static pose. So you get the legs, you put them together. This is the pose that they're in permanently. Same thing with the feet, right? Hey, Stolas, thank you so much, man. Glad you got to stop by. It was really nice to see you, dude. I'm actually explaining the poses for the knights at the moment, but thank you so much for the happy birthday wishes and calling me Space King. Thank you so much. Yes, exactly, Alex. So this is what I call cowboy stance, right? Most times, people who build these knights will change the pose by rotating the body, because the torso and the legs come separately. So you can like pivot the body like 90 degrees, 45 degrees, and it goes from cowboy stance to what I call surfer stance. I really hate both of those stances. I think they look really dumb, if you ask me. So when I do a lot of my customizations, I need a really, really good tool to work with. So I do, for example, this is my Knight Errant. I've been building him, and I've done a lot of like custom work by carving out the leg, breaking off and reposing the toes. I have this plastic rod that is way too thick for any of the drills that I have, so I've actually used the Fantic to cut a hole in the foot so I can place this rod for stability. because the only thing that'll be touching the base will be the toe, so I need something else to kind of help stabilize the model itself. But also, one of the really cool parts about this whole thing is my... here we are. So this is my Knight Preceptor. This is the one I built 2 models ago that I've been working on. Again, I did a lot of custom posing for it to kind of change up the stance. I actually built a rock on stream. Here's the rock, actually. I built a rock on stream for the feet to go on, so you kind of have this like nice dynamic pose here. So he's got that like standing thing. You need a knight with a cowboy hat now. I'm sure there's 3D printers out there that'll do it. But what's really cool about the Fantic is magnetizing has always been a bit of a bitch for me. I hate magnetizing models the old-fashioned way. It just takes a long time, and the magnets I have are too big for any of the drill bits I use. So one of the best ways to do this is you have a carving bit that's literally just like an arrowhead that you can carve out the plastic to fit your... Yes, you remember me building the rock, Alec. You also remember me gluing my hands to every freaking surface as well. But the carving bit's perfect, because now I can magnetize my missile launcher if I want to take the missile launcher, and I can just remove it now. And I did this magnet in about 15 seconds. It took 15 seconds to drill into it, and it took 15 seconds to level it out with super glue and everything in it. Which was really awesome, because normally magnets like this would take me about an hour or two, because you have to drill into it manually with your pin vise, check and make sure the magnet's level, go back out and kind of drill into it again. So it took me a long time to do that, and then of course the Fantic makes it really, really easy, because here you can't really see in it very well, but I actually placed these 2 magnets in here on top of bits of sprue that I had to shave to fit in here properly, because this is a rounded internal surface and sprue sides are perfectly straight. So the Fantic helped me shape these magnets, so now I can just quickly, on the fly, swap out what missiles I'm using. So I can swap this out, play that, and if I want, I can put it on top of my Knight, and it's no problem. It's super, super fast, super, super easy, and it makes cutting into things way more simple. For example, I have this Doom Scythe from the Necron range that I thought would make a really cool basing rubble for, and I'm not done, I'm going to do more carving on this and get the cockpit and everything what I want, but I thought it would make a really good basing rubble for one of the Knights I'm working on, and I used it to cut the wing off and put it in place, and then I got it glued down on this base, so when I build my Knight Castigator, I'll be able to use it as like a rock for him to step on, which is awesome. And I really like this clean, like, cross-section here, because I'm actually going to paint all these edges bright orange to make it look like it's still hot from being cut in half by the Knight for the base, which I just think would look really, really cool. I'm not done with this base yet, actually. I wanted to work on the Porphyrion while I had basically a week off of work, so I've been working on carving up my resin pieces, but I will go back and finish that base before all is said and done. Which is really, really awesome. Hey, Luke, thank you so much for the birthday wishes, brother, man. It's glad to see you. Sorry I haven't been able to stream, like I said, between you and Stolas. I have been busy out of town and whatnot. Let's see. I only have Psycho Warriors got kicked out of the tournament. Really? Listen, if anyone's mad at Psycho Warriors, they can get happy in the same pants they got grumpy in. That's all I have to say about that. And here you are stuck with 7 Space Marines. Honestly, brother, it's not a race. It's not a competition. I have spent way too much money on my Knights. My wife has been, honestly, one of like the biggest supporters of this whole thing. I told her, I must have driven her absolutely freaking insane, because I would not stop talking about the Knight Porphyrion, which is my favorite model that GW has ever made. Ever. Of all time. You're joking. I mean, I do love Psycho Warriors, though. Like, Space King for life. Love that animation. It's great. I love the guys at Flash Gets. But I must have driven her absolutely fucking crazy talking about the Knight Porphyrion. It's my favorite model of all time. And she, along with my dad, bought me this as a surprise from a guy off of eBay, which is awesome. I love this thing. I want to go to at the time it's not now, but at the time it was the largest Warhammer tournament in the world, the Las Vegas Open. and it's now been replaced by the London GT. And I wanted to be the first person ever to bring a Porphyrion to the tournament. Unfortunately, 2025, somebody beat me to it. But I'm still going to bring it. Wow, voice crack. I'm still going to bring it. I'm still going to do my Knights army. I've been working out like crazy. She's a keeper, bro. I think you did it before the night, though. You're not wrong. Absolutely. She's 100% a keeper. I love my wife so much. And actually, that's part of the reason I got us out of town. She needed as much of a mental reset as I did. So getting out of town for a couple of days, absolutely. Thank you, Mom. Sorry for that, everybody. She absolutely needed a couple of days to herself to get away out of town, no responsibilities, and it has done us both wonders. I'm genuinely, I'm super blessed, and I'm glad to have her in my life. So, honestly, Sambro, I love the Knight Porphyrion. Absolutely, Knight Porphyrion is super cool as a model. Genuinely one of the coolest models that they make. I'm super stoked. It is nowhere close to meta, however. It is a terrible model to bring if you're trying to win a game of 40k. But I don't really care about winning. I don't do this for meta chasing. I do this for the love of the game. If I was doing this for meta chasing, I wouldn't be playing a bottom tier army in 10th edition right now. They are ranked. I think the last time I checked, they were what? I think ranked 25 out of 28 in terms of like meta. They're awful. So no one could accuse me of power gaming. I think the Knights are the least interesting to me. They feel like a Titan Legion light, but they do look cool. You know, honestly, you're not wrong.
Why did you send a friend request to me?
I'm sorry, hold on here. Hold on one second. What? Oh, someone joined the Discord briefly. Oh. Was the son of a friend of mine. My apologies. Yeah, honestly, Knights have a very, very, like, least interesting lore. When do I usually stream? Okay, so when I have my normal streaming setup, I try to stream on Wednesdays and Thursdays, primarily. Usually from about 2 p.m. Central Standard Time to about 5:30 Central Standard Time, typically. This week, I've actually, since I've been off work, I took a week off for my birthday because I had a bunch of holiday time they needed me to use up. I've been streaming pretty much every day at about 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1:30, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. So, yeah, so that's when I normally stream. But like I said, starting Friday, I have to go back to my normal streaming schedule, and that'll be Wednesdays and Thursdays, typically, from 1:30 to what time? 1:30, from about 2 o'clock to around 5:30, typically. So, let's see. Back to the Knights are pretty least interesting because they haven't developed the lore very much. The Knights have been kind of ignored by GW, and it sucks that that's even the case because I love the Knights so much from an aesthetic standpoint, but their lore is not very interesting. And what's weird about the lore, and I've talked about it briefly before, is that what time is it for me right now? It is 4:38 p.m. Central Standard Time right now. I don't know where you live, unfortunately. I'm assuming Diecat's Germany, most likely, if I had to hazard a guess, based on the name. Which is, I have a few people in Germany who swing by and say hi, usually. So, but yeah, it's because they have a lot of vestiges in the lore that they just don't answer. Like, great example, I'll give it to you. There are 2 types of Knight houses. There's, well, 3 types, technically. I'm going to have my voice cracking all freaking day. I swear I hit puberty, like, 16 years ago, guys. Actually, over 16 years ago. No, basically, you have 2 types. You have the Mechanicus, and you have Questor Imperialis. And Questor Imperialis, they negotiated with the Emperor. So, like, they are allowed to have a lot of leeway in the lore. But why do they get to have a lot of leeway while other planets were just straight up conquered for not bowing to the Emperor immediately? Like, what makes Knights' houses so special? There's no answer, unfortunately. So the lore is not overly interesting. GW was going to work on a book series called, I believe it was King's Blade, was the name of the trilogy. And you have King's Wrath, King's Blade, and then the 3rd book in the series was going to be called Freeblade. I say was because they've never released it. It's been over a decade and they've not released Freeblade, and I don't think they ever will. So the story is actually unfinished, which is a shame. I remember you posting every day until you got it, and I remember I was laughing my head off because I was going to do the same series.
It is nice, and I tried my best to post every day. It's a lot because I never worked on scripts ahead of time because I just didn't have the time. So I had to come up with a script, write the script, edit the script, record, edit the video, and then post it. And from start to finish, it was like a 4-hour ordeal. And I spent a lot of time in here, and my wife was like, I just miss hanging out with my husband. So, especially when her health, like she had surgery and she was recovering, I had to be readily and available for her. So I didn't post every day. But then she ended that series like a month and a half in, which is awesome. My wife, like top tier spouse. I cannot ever show her as much love as she absolutely deserves, nor can I express to her appropriately how much I love my wife.
Wait, what? I've played Freeblade before on my dad's computer. I have it. It's free on Microsoft Store. Actually, you gotta take an Erebus.
I'm not talking about the game. There's a book series. So there's a trilogy of books that they were working on originally
for Imperial Knights.
It was called, I think it's King's Wrath, King's Blade, and then it was supposed to be Freeblade was the last of the books for this trilogy. And they never finished the books. They never made the book Freeblade. So it never got published and never finished it. And that was over 10 years ago now.
What? It's 11:40 p.m. for me. I'm Swiss. Same language as the Germans. Fair enough. I was trying to guess. Actually, I have a few people in Germany that swing by pretty regularly. Of course, right now, I think most of them are speak German, right?
I disavow. But yeah, I don't disagree with you though, Stolas. The lore is not overly interesting. I just love the Knights from an aesthetic standpoint. I think they're really, really cool. Who doesn't like giant walking robots?
And as much as I love mecha, I'm not enough of a weeaboo to properly appreciate the Tau. Nor will I ever be. And I'm okay with this. So, the Knights are where it's at for me on that one. But, honestly, in terms of lore,
they are probably the least interesting Imperial faction. There's so many more other ones that are more interesting.
No German speaks German still.
I'll never be able to express exactly how excited I am that my community has a meme with Erebus. It is awesome. My dad now, in a regular lexicon,
says he's going to take an Erebus. The Knights make sense from a story perspective. They clearly want to move away from the mountain-sized robots. No, they speak Germlish. That's actually pretty true.
My favorite,
because I know nobody in Germany says it, my favorite German word, because this is where I go, like, German's not a real language, okay? My favorite German word of all time is the German word for submarine. They don't even say the full word, they just say U-boat. But the full word is Unterseeboot. I'm sure is a terrible pronunciation. I'm not German. I am American. I try my best, but I will speak with an American accent. Unterseeboot. Undersea boat. I'm still pissed that Games Workshop canceled the book series for the Imperial Knights. Yes, we were one book away. It would not have been hard. Just finish the book. You know, you've got 60-something fucking Horus Heresy novels, you know, combined with the Siege of Terra. Like, just
one more book for the Imperial Knights would have been nice. But you know what? Honestly, the way I think of the Imperial Knights from an in-lore perspective, honestly, and I think Stolas will probably agree with this, I think of Knights, the Imperial Knights, as the same thing as Angron, right? Like, Angron is a terrible character. If you love Angron, I'm not saying he's bad. He's badly written or anything. He's just a terrible character.
Because he's not a character. He's
an event, right? Like, when Angron shows up, he's an action that is happening to something, right? He's not a good character. If you write a book from Angron's perspective now, specifically as a demon Primarch, purely an entire novel from his perspective, it would be a terrible freaking novel. But you know what would make a great novel? Imagine being an Imperial Guardsman trying to survive Angron showing up and cutting through vast swaths of a planet. You know? Like, that would be dope. And I love that idea. But him as a character, terrible. Same thing with Imperial Knights. Like, the pilots are okay, right? You could probably make a pretty good, like, story, like a Game of Thrones style story of knight pilots piloting knights, but in reality, like, it would be much more interesting to have Imperial Knights show up in the middle of a campaign of, like, guardsmen or something, and just talk about the giant robot doing stuff to people. Hello! Is that the Dark Lady? Oh. Okay, so I had some people asking, may I? Hello, everybody. This is one of the kittens we're fostering. This is the Dark Lady Ink Spill. She's just opened up her eyes. Oh my gosh. So cute. She loves to be swaddled. She also is very upset I am not mommy. And she's trying to escape. And and now you have Chewie's nose on stream. Here you go. You can have Ink Spill back. Goodbye, Inky. She's a cute kitty. I got myself the blue spray from Games Workshop. I tested it out 30 minutes ago. My Marines somehow have a sand-like texture. Got any idea what that is? I think it might be because I'm not shaking it enough. Honestly, it's probably partly. You're not shaking it well enough. Two, and this is the downside to spraying. OMG Void Kitten. Honestly, the downside to spray bottles and rattle cans, one, you need to shake them for like a good solid 10 to 12 minutes. And I'm not even joking. You need to shake them up really, really well. But you're going to get a little bit of a peppering. What's going to happen is you have to spray from a distance. At least, I don't know metric, unfortunately, in this regard. But for Americans, it's about 10 to 12 inches away. Which is about a foot, so about that long. You know, you get a good amount of distance away, but not too far away. Because what's happening here is you do have some texturing in the paint, which is always going to happen to some degree. But it's either drying too much when it hits the... Yes, I'm not even joking. About 10 to 12 minutes is what I've had to do to get it just right. I don't know what the instructions say on the rattle can, but I have White Scar, which is very temperamental. Mind you, okay, I'll say this. White Scar and white paint in general is very, very temperamental. So white paint has a lot of splotchiness, has a lot of chalkiness. So I'm shaking it for 10 to 12 minutes because of it's white paint. You may not have to for blue paint, but you do need to shake it quite a bit. You'd have to figure it out. For me, maybe doing it 10 to 12 minutes in terms of shaking it might be a little overkill for blue paint. That's just... See, it says 2 minutes. That's the thing. It does say 2 minutes, but I've always had issues with it. But the other factors that at play are, what's the humidity like? If there's a low humidity, the paint's probably drying a little bit before it hits the model. So that could be another thing that you have to take into account. Also, the distance you're spraying towards the model. Too close, it'll spiderweb a little bit. Too far away, you get that sandpaperiness to it. If you have the ability to do so, and not a lot of people do, I understand. Spraying indoors is best. Temperature is also something to be taken into account. You need to be about room temperature. I want to say it's like 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's around... I have to double check it. I'm not sure about Celsius. I think that's around 28 to 30 degrees Celsius, but I think that may be too hot. I'm really bad at Celsius, so don't take that as gospel. Feel free to look it up. And I always have a spray booth. So, but yeah, it's temperamental. You'll have to figure out the best techniques that work for you. Shake it up really, really well. Don't listen to the spray can. They always give you too short of a time. Always spray about a foot or so away from
where, like, what you're spraying. I don't know what that is in a metric, unfortunately. 30 is above. Okay, so I was wrong on that one. I really don't know Celsius, unfortunately. In Fahrenheit, where I live, it's about, like I said, 72 degrees usually. Anyway, that's what I recommend. Because rattle cans can be a little bit tricky. Okay. Alec posted something. I got a Night Abominant because I wanted the big stompy robot and only had Chaos Space Marines at the time. That's understandable. I hate you for it, but I understand. I think a Night Story where lots of Game of Thrones style court drama could go hard. Abso-freaking-lutely. It would absolutely go hard, for sure. I wish that they would lean into it. Also, OMG Void Kitten. The Dark Lady is very persnickety, but she is a beautiful, beautiful lady. Hey, Wizard, I have a question. I'm wondering, what do you think I should do for my next night that I get to build my army? Okay. Let's see. You said, right now I have a Knight Lancer, a Knight Castellan, and a Knight Defender that I magnetized. Okay. So... okay. That's good. I like that. No, it's not. I'm Canadian, so I know that room temperature would be at least 20, maybe 19. Fair enough. I did spray indoors and got blue dust everywhere. That's the problem with doing it. I have a spray booth, which is essentially a fan with a filter in front of it that pulls a lot of that pigment towards it. It does help, but it is like I said, it can be persnickety, unfortunately. For your Knight, so you've got a Lancer, which is really, really good. It's one of the best Knight melee right now. It's incredibly fast. So 14 inches movement speed, which is the fastest Knight movement speed, except the Destrier, when it comes out, is potentially faster, but only potentially because it has to roll. I think it's a 12-inch movement speed plus a D3 inches added to it every time it moves. So Lancer's really, really good. I think it's a really solid play. If you're going with something that's relatively melee-oriented, you could go with a Gallant, a Knight Gallant. It's got a 12-inch movement speed. It's not bad. 1 foot is roughly 30 centimeters, give or take. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, fair enough. But you have a Defender, and you have a Castellan. So the Castellan's got a lot of good range, which is fantastic. And the Defender can protect the Castellan. As long as you keep the Defender near or in front of the Castellan, so it gives the Castellan a 4-up invuln save, your Castellan will actually do a lot of damage at a distance, especially with the Volcano Lance. I'd say, honestly, one, you definitely need to look into some Armigers. Armigers are definitely going to be a massive help for you. You're going to want Armigers for sure to help you with OC. That's the one thing that Knights lack is OC. So no objective control. You definitely are going to want Armigers to help you with that. I would say at least 4 Armigers. At least. I have 2 Warglaives and 2 Helverins, so I've got a total of 4 Armigers between the two. A lot of lists, especially with the Lancer, say you're going to want at least 6. I don't know if you're trying to be meta compliant or not. I don't care a lick about meta. Clearly, I'm building a Porphyrion. It sucks for meta. I don't care about meta at all. But if you want to have a really solid chance at winning with a bottom tier army, which unfortunately, Knights, we are bottom tier at the moment, I would say look into Armigers. But if you want a full-size Knight, honestly, you could go with something shooty, you know. You could go with something shooty. A Crusader would be really good. A Paladin would be a mix of the two. You get a little bit of melee, a little bit of ranged. Or you can go straight melee with a Gallant. If you're asking my opinion, I think you should lean into the melee side of things a bit. So I would go with a Gallant, or I would go with Armigers. And if you're going Armigers, you have the Warglaive, which is melee-oriented. I do like the Warglaive, but I think the Helverins will serve you better. So if you get some Armigers, then I recommend building Helverin Armigers first. You need a little bit more firepower. They're really good at OC. And then you can have your melee-oriented Lancer leading the charge, and then your Helverins can back up your Lancer and take objectives while your Lancer gets into the melee, right? So those would be my recommendations. Armigers or a Gallant. No, I take that back. Forget the Gallant. I take that back. I do think the Armigers, though, go with the Knight Preceptor, because the Knight Preceptor not only helps get extra rerolls for chances to hit and for damage, the Preceptor also buffs nearby allies, especially armatures. So, anyway, I gotta sleep. Ciao, Wizard. You know what? Thank you so much for stopping by, Cats. I really appreciate it. You know, I hope to see you in the future. It's been really great seeing you here. In fact, just before you bounce, I'm sorry, I promise, I am working on it. I'm going to post in the chat, just for anybody. It's still a work in progress, but this is my link to the Discord server of the Wizards Tower. If you want to join the community, feel free. I post announcements in there. We've got a couple of channels in there to talk about Warhammer in general, or if you have minis you want to show off, you can show them off there. And I'm going to get a few more voice channels and everything. It's still a work in progress. I'm a little bit of a boomer, so just bear with me. But if you are interested in joining the community, that's the best way. And we got a lot of really great people. So, but thank you again, Cats, for joining in. Chat is worldly. Yes, I don't know why. I've got a lot of people in Europe that swing by and say hi, which is awesome. I love that.
Okay.
Hey, it's a Josh.
Mic check, hello.
Hello. I am live at the moment, so please don't say any dirty words. Thanks so much, Wizard. I will take that in consideration for what I'm doing next for my army. Thank you so much. You know what, Luke? Thank you for swinging by. I really appreciate it. Yeah, definitely looking to get into some armatures and a preceptor. I think that'll help you out a ton when it comes to your army. But it sounds like you've got a really solid list. I'm a little jealous that you have a Lancer. You and Josh both have a Lancer, and I still don't have one. But I do have a Castigator and an Acheron, so at least I can say I'm still the Night Guy. All right.
Josh, welcome, my friend. Welcome to the birthday stream. How you feeling?
Uh-oh. I think he died. Oh, no, he's there. Are we... Oh, scheisse. That's probably part of the problem. Oopsie poopsie.
Mic off.
Okay.
Mic on.
Sorry about that. Hey, Josh. Didn't realize my microphone wasn't hooked up to my headset. My apologies. Welcome to the stream. I'm on my birthday stream, wrapping up here in a little bit. So don't say anything that'll get me banned off of YouTube, my friend.
Ooh.
Let's see here. Thank you. I see. At least you have one step on us by having the glorious Porphyrion. Yes, I'm very excited. I cannot wait to get this finished. I've got the name picked out for it. I am going with the Venatorus Irae, the Wrath of the Hunter. I'm very excited. I am actually, honestly, let's go ahead and get this here. This is all I've got left. Oh, I'm gonna bump my light. This is all I've got left as far as parts. It's the smaller stuff. This will go by quick. The big stuff. This is all I've got left to get the night ready. Once I get all this stuff cut off, its gates, and trimmed up, I have no choice but to start gluing. And I think after tomorrow, possibly Tuesday, I will be able to start putting things together, and I'm very excited. Hello, Mother. Let's see. Chat is popping off today. I've been thinking about demon lives. Do they die, or are they only ever banished? New demons just constantly being spawned in from the will of the gods. If they die, just unclear. Actually, so if a demon dies in the material world, they actually do get sent back to the immaterium, and they don't die there. If they die in the immaterium in the realm of their god, I believe they stay dead. Or if they're killed by a powerful enough psychic force, it's a true death. So, like, for example, the chapter of the Grey Knights, they bond themselves to a demon, essentially, by taking they change their name. There's a lot of lore I'm glossing over here, but they change their name to the name of a demon lord backwards, and if they kill that demon dies a true death. So there's only a handful of ways that they die a true death. Most of the time, however, they just respawn back in the immaterium. So it's a little on the tricky side. Most demons, however, they don't die. They just go back to the warp, and they come back again later. There's actually a short story. I think it was a Grey Knight that was about to kill a demon, and scared a demon so much that the demon killed himself so he could come back to life in the warp rather than be killed by a Grey Knight, which is hilarious to me. So, my dearest Joshipu, my best friend in life, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I am looking over whether or not I should buy the Season 2 Yeah, I may just go ahead and buy that season 2 of the, and it's a Gear Bear.
Holy moly, my dad.
Perfectly on time, too. Holy moly. Yeah.
Well, everybody, I wanted to do a little stream sooner today. I kind of got caught up
With getting some stuff ready for the kittens coming over to the house, so my deepest apologies. But I want to say to everybody, thank you guys for swinging by the stream and saying hi. I do appreciate it. Stoll is, and Luke, if you're not already, I think Luke you are. Do you want to join the server so I can let you guys know when I'm going to go live? And you guys want to be part of the community, feel free. But have you told everyone about Inky and Blinky? I have, and I've showed Inky on stream, and they have called her the Void Kitten, and I am okay with this. She also, as soon as she got handed to me from Summer, she was freaking out and missed mommy, so
I had to give her back pretty quickly. That and Chewy kept putting his snoot on stream.
You don't mess with the Dark Lady.
You do not mess with the Dark Lady Inkspill. Inky is very persnickety, as every good lady should be. Oop. This one's got a nasty air bubble in it too. What the frick, man? This is pissing me off. I'm gonna have to use a lot of milliput to fix this stuff.
All right. Well, anyway, I want to say to everybody, thank you again for tuning in today. I know this is a little bit on the shorter side. I was going to play some video games and with my dad before he has to get off for the evening, since it's been about 2 days since I've done so. Can you please just show the Void Kitten again, please? She is actually currently down for a nap. I can't. Not today, Luke, but I promise she will be back on stream later. I will have her all week. And so I will be showing her on stream because I will have to feed her in the middle of stream, and I can't necessarily stop what I'm doing, so I'll just feed them on stream together. All right. Well, anyway, guys, thank you again so much for tuning by. I'm gonna go ahead and bounce here, so I'll catch everyone tomorrow. But thank you guys for watching. If you like what you saw, please feel free to leave a like. It does help the channel out. If you didn't like what you saw, I appreciate you guys for watching as long as you have, and I'll catch you guys later.